Hello everyone. So today I want to show you how to do an assembly. And this is very simple. So last time I showed you how to cut a shape in half. And I had that shamrock looking shape that I cut in half and I hollowed it out. So I'm going to use those shapes. I'm going to use its right half and left half to put this together. Okay. So first, when I start my new file, I choose an assembly this time. Now you can only do that if you already made your parts, okay? This is really the last step. So please don't do that if you don't have all of your parts, because then it's just going to be very painful. Okay, so let's click OK. And I would get my usual setup, except cancel. Except now I have begin assembly, create layout. It looks a little different. And it offers me this little window over here, and this is where I select the parts that I want to assemble. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Browse, and I have all sorts of parts, but I'm going to do hollow half shamrock left. Okay. So I would get my part, my first part, and my first part is always fixed in space. So wherever you will let it go, that's where it will stay. So I'm going to put it over here, and this is where it's going to stay. So if I try to grab it and move it around, I can't. It's just going to be there. So now I need to add another part because, I can't have an assembly with just one part. So I'm going to click Insert Component, and I'm going to insert the right half. There we go. So now I have the right half. Now notice my right half, I can move it around in space. And sure, I can always rotate this. You can see that they're really two halves of the same whole. They're hollow inside, so I can put stuff in there. So this is my assembly, right? This is my two parts. Now I need to make sure that they're mated. Okay, so I need to assembly. The objective of an assembly is to put them together. So I'm going to click on Mate right here. And I'm going to select, in this case, I'm going to select my top surface right here and my top surface right here. I'm going to click OK. Please notice what happened. I now have the top surfaces on the same plane. So I can move it around, but please notice I can no longer move it up and down. Even if I'm trying to move it up and down, they're always on the same surface. Of course, I can also have like silly things like a part going through two parts going through each other, but I'm about to fix that. All right, so I have fixed them in one direction, right? So they're all in the same plane, but it still can move in two other directions, right? I can move this way, I can move that way. So I need to fix that somehow. So I'm going to mate again, and I'm going to mate some of my edges. I'm going to mate this edge, and I'm going to mate this edge. And once again, I'm making them coincident. Okay, let's do that. And I don't think that worked. Yeah, it did. But so it's kind of hard to tell, but it actually did work. Right, but I still have a little problem. I can still move it around. I can still turn my part. So I need to mate some of my other edges. I'm going to turn my shape around like this, and I'm going to mate my other two edges. So I'm going to mate this edge, and I'm going to mate this edge. And you can see that my shape immediately closed. Now, why did that happen? Well, my mate command disappeared. Why did that happen is because when I made those two edges, this is my last point in space that I needed to fix. After this, there is no other way for the shape to be together. It has to be closed and it has to look like this. There we go. So now I cannot move my parts. They are stuck together. I have assembled my part. All right. Well, that doesn't really tell me much on how to assemble it. So if I were a person looking for instructions, let's say you're one of those people who bought furniture at IKEA and you just got those instructions and they make no sense, right? Because all the parts are already assembled. Well, that doesn't really happen in IKEA instructions. They show you step by step how to do this. So we're going to do that as well. So what we need to do now is to show how those parts go together. So to do that, we need something called an exploded view. So I'm going to hit exploded view. And the first thing you need to do is you need to select your part. So I'm going to explode this part. And I'm not going to explode it on the z-axis because z-axis goes this way. I'm going to explode it on x-axis so that you can see that those two parts go together. So I'm going to select my x-axis. So notice that it changed over here. And I'm going to select the distance at which I'm going to explode it. And my distance is going to be 1 inch. So when I click apply, oops, I have something that happened, right? Except my part seems to go this way instead of the other way. And I needed to go the other way. There we go, I changed my direction. So now I have my part exploded, and if you see, if I rotate it, you can see that this is two parts, and it's clearly shown that they can go together. Now once again, I lost my exploded view because I didn't click OK. So I'm going to do it again real quick. Let's make sure I reverse my direction and apply. There we go. And now I'm going to hit OK. And there's my exploded view. Now, if you have more than one, if I have more than two components, right? Of course, I might need to select another part and explode it and so on. But this is the basic idea. So in your project had better consist of more than one part, okay? Because if your project consists of more than one part, chances are you won't be able to make it. Simply because you won't be able to put circuits and stuff inside. So if your assembly consists of more than two parts, that's already some serious extra credit points there.